let's get into it. Hey girls, so let's talk about PCOS, shall we? So first and foremost, this is a video that I have been wanting to make for so long. Like, don't ask me what it took me so long, because I don't know. Either way it goes, here we are. I'm finally doing my sit down video, just talking about PCOS. I kind of want to go into my story, share my experience, share a few things that have helped me and a few things I've learned along the way. So I know a lot of people might already have heard of it, may know a little bit about it, but then you also have some people who don't. So here I am to help inform those who don't, or those who didn't know much about it. Feel free to chime in the comments if you have your own PCOS experience or concerns, or, you know, suggestions, anything like that. Just a brief disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I'm not soliciting any medical advice. Please consult with your medical provider prior to trying any of these methods, okay? Just had to put that out there, because I don't need nobody talking about, well, I watched Nicole and she said, baby, this is my experience, my suggestions that work for me, okay? That's one thing I will say about PCOS. It is on an individual case by case basis. Nobody has the same symptoms. Nobody experiences the same things. Like, it's different, okay? So yeah, first I'm gonna go into my very own PCOS story. I am referring to a few notes if you see me looking down. I first learned I had PCOS in January of 2017. So I was on the verge of getting married and everything, you know, thought I was ready to have some kids and all that cute stuff. And honey was trying and nothing. I'm just here to be very, very vulnerable, very open with you guys, okay? So boom, I go to the doctor, you know, of course, I'm getting my regular workup. I'm explaining to them the complications I'm having and things that, you know, I have been trying to do, what I have been trying to do. So mind you guys, I kind of knew something was wrong, because for a while, like I would say late teens, somewhere around 16, 17, up until early 2017, I was going on like 22 years old. So in between that age range is when I kind of noticed like my cycles were a bit irregular. Like I would go for long periods of time without even having a cycle, or if I would have one, it would be very short, or sometimes it would be extremely long. So I kind of knew like something was off, but I just did not really want to claim that, if you get what I'm saying. So I really kind of overlooked it. I did. I was also experiencing like a rapid weight gain. Like I went from being kind of petite, very slim, just very long, like tall. I'm a tall girl, so I was always tall and slim, you know, and then I got to a certain age and it was just like, the weight was just sitting. It wasn't just going nowhere. It wasn't going nowhere quite as easy. And so I noticed that as well. Mind y'all, I had never been on any type of birth control or nothing like that that would make my hormones just rage out of control and, you know, me to be experiencing these symptoms. So again, I'm really kind of in denial. I'm not thinking much of it at this point. It wasn't until I went into the doctor and was explaining what was going on, and then they decided to start running some tests. And so the first test I had was, they checked my blood levels, they checked my hormone levels, and then they scheduled for me to come back in to have an ultrasound on my ovaries. So went back in, got the ultrasound done on the ovaries. That very same day, they shared with me the results, and she basically broke it down to me. Like, she saw there were like small cyst-like sacs on my ovaries, and she explained to me that those were my eggs, that I was releasing the egg, but it wasn't. I was forming the egg, but I wasn't releasing the egg. So they are just sitting on my ovaries and they're forming into cysts because they're not being released, basically. So that is why it's referred to as polycystic ovarian syndrome, because that is the indicator. I guess when they run the test, that's what they see to kind of indicate that that is what is leading to the hormonal imbalance and things like that. So of course, at first I was a little confused because I had done a little research and it was still rather new to Google. Like when I did Google searches, like I would find articles about it, but you wasn't finding very many people talking about PCOS around this time. So I'm a little confused. I'm not knowing what this is. I'm not knowing what this means. Like, all I know is the first option was for her to put me on birth control, or I could have got on, she said metformin is another medication that they utilize to try to reverse or prevent some of the symptoms, because it does mirror some of the symptoms of being diabetic. So even though metformin is made for diabetic patients, it can aid in people who've been diagnosed with PCOS as well. Of course, at the time I was trying to conceive, I opted for the metformin option because it made more sense, you know? And honey, I tried metformin. Listen, it did not do me horrible. The GI side effect, meaning like the digestive part of it, baby, stuff will run straight through you on the metformin. Like it's harsh on the stomach. I will just put that out there, okay? And after taking that for a few months, I was like, you know what? This is not, I ain't like it. Like, don't get me wrong, my cycles had started to get a little more regular and I was noticing the difference, but at the same time, I could not take the side effect from it. Like, I really could not eat very much of anything, because anything that touched my stomach, like, it would just be very, very sensitive. So I know that's a little TMI, but girl, So I'm like, okay, whatever. We're gonna fast forward a couple years, because then I started to transition into this point in my life where I would start going through the divorce. Well, first it was the separation, then it was the divorce, and then it was just like I was back in the dating world, and now, baby, I ain't studying no churn. I'm not studying no churn. Okay, I'm not studying no churn. Like, that's where I was at. Like, it didn't even matter to me. I ain't gonna say I didn't care that I had PCOS, but I was like, you know what? Me and God we'll cross that bridge when we get there, Lord. How about that? Boom. I went a few more years ignoring it. And trust me, that is the last thing you want to do when you have a condition that can over time progress. You don't want to ignore it. Like, you really want to do what you can to address the symptoms and do what you can to kind of reverse the effects before it gets too far. You get what I mean? I would say around early 2020-ish, I started to experience like bad symptoms from it. Like, the weight gain was horrible. I started to see it in my skin, a lot of hyperpigmentation in certain areas of my body, like my neck area, my underarms, the sides of my face, like any area that kind of rubs together, like where the skin is thicker, is darker, okay? And that's normal when it comes to PCOS, because the hormonal imbalance, it basically leads to insulin resistance. And so you see these same symptoms in diabetic patients, okay? That's why they correlate PCOS with diabetes a lot, because there's some of the same symptoms, but they're not the same, okay? Let's just put that out there. They're not the same. Now, will I say PCOS could never form into diabetes? I won't say that. I won't say that, because it absolutely can. If it goes for a long time of being untreated, like I truly believe anybody who was diagnosed with diabetes, especially women, I feel like it started out like as PCOS in some form, okay? But other symptoms that I was experiencing, I was having cravings, like sugar cravings, bread, things like that. I had to have it. And that's the worst thing that you can consume when you are dealing with PCOS. I started to have, they call it abnormal uterine bleeding. So I would like have a cycle, and then 2 weeks later I would have another cycle that would be like really heavy. But what really got me was, when it comes to the hormonal imbalance, the mental effects of it. Honestly, dealing with PCOS, it comes with so many unseen symptoms that you would think you're looking at a normal person, but they could be going haywire inside, okay? Just keep that in mind. Like, I really want to put this out there for anybody who may have someone in their family or someone they're close with or themselves. So if you have somebody who is a little bit more emotional, or they have a lot of different spells of depression, or they're just dealing with up and down moodiness or things like that, like, just take that into account when you're dealing with somebody who you know has PCOS. But yeah, I started to experience that, like anxiety, depression, just all of it. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. All of it hit me, and I did not know what was going on. Like, I wasn't one to ever really get depressed or down and out, or, you know, just having a hard time focusing mentally. Like, that's never been me. So when that started to affect, I was like, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Now let me tap back in and tend to this, okay? So that is when I really started to do my research into PCOS. That is when I really started to say, okay, what can I do besides just going to these doctors? What can I do for myself to help myself? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's cool if you need to go to the doctor, but you gotta help yourself. And when I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to me, because it's so hard. I ain't gonna say it's hard, but for me, when I'm trying, and I feel like my trying is in vain, or I don't see the improvement right away, I be like, forget it. And I gotta stop that. I gotta get over that hump. I have to see things through. You get what I'm saying? And so it's all about consistency, okay? Consistency. I'm gonna move into talking about things that I started to implement into my lifestyle, not just temporarily, not just for a certain time, lifestyle that I noticed, number one, was helping me, was kind of even reversing some of the symptoms. Now, don't get me wrong, I still very much battle with this on a daily basis, okay? Still have my moments where I'm down, I'm up, still have my cravings, still have the breakouts, still have the irregular cycles, but I'm gonna take my accountability. I haven't been doing things according to how I know I should. So I can always see the results when I slack off, but I can always see the results when I'm doing well, okay? The main thing I'm gonna tell you, sis, because I'm talking to my sisters right now, like, there may be men listening, and I feel like men should really listen to this because you may know, it may help you know more about the woman you're with. It may help you learn more about how you can help her, and or not just the woman you're with, any woman in your life that you love and care for. It could be your daughter. So yes, definitely tune in. But to my sisters, we are going to have to change the way we eat. We are what we eat. And I know y'all have heard that a million times before. You are what you eat, you are what you eat. But y'all, literally, when you put something in your mouth, it becomes you. It becomes you. It has to pass through you. And at some point, it has to exit you, okay? If that is not the most simple fix to something I've ever heard before in my life, I don't know what is. But leave it up to us. We're gonna make any and everything difficult, okay? First of all, the fact that they make everything so good and addicting lets you know that PCOS is something that manifested over time, and it developed from the way we eat, okay? You did not hear about PCOS just 20 years ago. Like, you didn't hear about this. You don't even hear about PCOS in certain countries because they don't eat the way we eat, okay? A lot of the carbs, sugar, high calorie, high sodium, just fried grease, you name it. Like, y'all know what to eat and what not to eat. I don't even have to really go through that. Y'all know what to eat and what not to eat. I know what to eat and what not to eat, okay? We need to be incorporating more fruits and more vegetables. Like, that's just point blank period. Raw vegetables and fruits need to be our main portion. Like, yes, you can work in some protein. Yes, you can work in some whole grains or some berries. I mean, some nuts or something like that. But the main thing we need to be eating, sister, is fruit and vegetables, okay? The main thing we need to be drinking is water. Just from my research, like, I highly recommend spring water. And if you can, try to get some water that is manufactured into a glass bottle or a BPA free bottle. It sucks that we have to live our life and be so cautious, but it's beneficial. It will really be beneficial in the end, okay? Another thing you guys have been seeing me try to implement consistently are my herbal teas, okay? Herbs, the natural medicine that God created and put in the earth for us to heal ourselves. I don't think it get no more powerful than that. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, to where it actually will help you and not take away from you at the same time, like these prescribed medicines. Come on now. So yeah, I want y'all to really do some good research on herbal teas. A good herbal tea for just wound health in general is the raspberry tea. You also have the ginger tea that I try to incorporate. You have your turmeric tea, which reduces inflammation. I told you guys about nettle leaf tea, which helps with your blood circulation. I also, I drink a lot of chamomile, which helps with your nervous system. Like, there's so many benefits to herbal teas. And I mean just straight raw organic herbal tea. You don't have to add sugar. You don't have to add honey. You don't need that. You ain't hear from me. You don't need it, sis. we also have to be more active. I know having a very sedentary type of job or lifestyle is comfortable, but for us, it's not beneficial or conducive to our health because we have to keep the motor going, meaning our metabolism might be a little slower due to the impact on our hormones. So therefore, we have to be more active, but we also cannot be overactive. Okay? So it's crazy. Like, it's literally a balancing act when it comes to dealing with PCOS. And I'm not gonna act like I have it all figured out because I don't. But I feel like I know a lot more about it than these doctors, so-called. Okay? That's just, so yeah, like, you have to have that balance when it comes to your activity level. So I suggest just get to walking. Like, just do a lot of walking. I do a lot of walking when I'm trying to incorporate exercise back into my routine of things. Like, I don't have to go to the gym. If I choose to go, I go. But for the most part, I try to walk. And when you get back in the house, put YouTube on. Look up what's called low HIIT, HIIT workouts. And these are very low impact routines that you can do from the comfort of your own home. They're low impact, meaning you don't have to do too much, but they are beneficial. So you will see results from it. You will burn the calories from doing them, and you won't be overexerting yourself, like going to the gym, lifting a bunch of big weights and running and all that kind of stuff. Believe it or not, that's not very good for PCOS. You don't want to stress your body out, but you do want to remain active. And just speaking on stress, this is going to take me into my last point because y'all, I cannot stress this enough. Stress is not good for you when you're dealing with PCOS. That plays on the mental health part of dealing with PCOS. In any kind of stressful situation, any type of unnecessary complications in your life. And I know sometimes we just can't help it, you know, but if you can find a way to eliminate certain things that might be adding extra pressures to you, please do so. Like, stress is a silent killer that leads to so many other side effects, high blood pressure, you know, higher risk of just aneurysms, things like that. Like, we don't even want to claim that stuff. So we really just want to downsize from people, downsize from things, downsize from certain situations that's just not benefiting your peace and just period. You have to take extra measures to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to be healthy mentally, spiritually, physically. How can I forget prayer over our lives, over our body, over our healing? If you believe in that, I pray you do. Get God in it. Let God tell you what you need to do, because God knows you. He knows the ins and outs of your DNA and how you were made and created and the functions of your organs and things like that. So get him in it. Put him in it. And I promise y'all, as I'm giving y'all this advice, I'm going to be more serious about implementing these very same things back into my life, because these are things I've tried, but these are things that I'm not consistent with. I'm gonna be honest. But I can tell you, when I have been consistent with doing them, there was a time frame in my life where I was probably 2 or 3 months into being consistent. Y'all, I lost so much weight. I was so much happier. I was brighter. I could see the difference in myself. I really could. And one last thing I want to say, guys, before I close out this video, because I know I'm a little long-winded when it comes to something I'm passionate about, okay? PCOS is not a death sentence. It does not mean you will never conceive. It doesn't mean that, okay? And I think that's the misconception that's been kind of built around it, because it can make it difficult to conceive. However, it does not mean you cannot conceive, okay? I know so many women living with PCOS who have children, who have multiple children. I have heard and read of so many PCOS success stories. Oh, I lost this amount of weight. I did this, I cut out this for a certain amount of time. Like, y'all, when I tell you it's possible, and there are so many ways to get your body back in a position to where you're ready and able to conceive and bear children. Now, me, I'm honestly not trying right now, but when I get to a place in my life again where I'm trying, I will literally be doing what I just laid out to you guys in order to have not only a successful but a healthy pregnancy, okay? Get ready. Stay ready so you ain't gotta get ready, okay? But y'all, that is my TED Talk. That is what I wanted to share with you guys about my PCOS experience. I really hope this helped somebody. I hope this was informative to many. And if you have questions, concerns, or want to share your own experience, I would love to hear from some of you guys. I've always wanted to come up with like a community of women who are experiencing this, and we can kind of feed off each other, and you know, who knows, one day. But until then, this is a good start. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can become one of my dimes. Check out some of my videos. I like to do mainly vlogs and lifestyle type of content, but I do a lot of sit downs as well, and this was one of those sit downs that I needed to do. I wanted it to be very informative and hopefully helpful to a lot of people. So until next time, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, share this video to someone who you think might need to hear more about this topic, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.